Yeah, Prabhu messaged me that he's joining now.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavats Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, Prabhu. Hope I'm audible to everybody. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhu, go ahead and get started. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, yes, Hare Krishna. Vikram Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. You can start.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. We're all very honored to have His Grace Yudhistara Krishna Prabhu today here to give us his association. For those of you who are new, Yudhistara Prabhu is one of our senior leaders, and he's the Senior Vice President of Vrindavan Chandrodaya Mandir in Vrindavan, and he heads Akshaya Patra operations over there as well. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for your time.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, I was not told any specific topic. So, because, I think...
Kishore Prabhu, you want to discuss how you...
I was told that, there will be some questions.
I gave some questions, Prabhu.
You gave some questions. I thought, already same questions hold, or other same questions we can...
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, chaliye, fine. So we'll begin with the first question. Okay. I'll read out the question so that, we can discuss on that. Scriptures advise not to hanker after money. But for livelihood, unless we remain motivated materially, we can't remain competitive at work and sustain our livelihood. This means compromising our spiritual consciousness. How do we handle this situation? Right? Catch-22 situation. I hope everybody got the question. Right? One side, scriptures say not to hanker after money, but for our livelihood, we need to have, ways and means, materially motivated to, work with competitive spirit at our workplace, and also maintain our family, get our livelihood, all these things. So somewhere there is, looks like we are compromising our spiritual consciousness. So how do we balance this? Is the question. I hope everybody got the question. Yes or no? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, we heard the question, Prabhu. Yeah.
Fine, okay. Just wanted to get a yes. Otherwise, I think I'm speaking myself and not heard. Okay. So this is a typical situation of balancing our material life and spiritual life. Is exactly what Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita in one of the purports. Prabhupada explains how right now we have what is known as conditional life, right? And on a as spirit soul, we also have our constitutional situation, right? So two kinds of activities are going on right now, conditional and constitutional, because right now we're in the conditioned stage. So for protecting our body, we have to abide by the laws of the state, society, and there are certain activities which we are supposed to be doing, right? So definitely, just like Prabhupada always said, you have to do business, means you have to do business like. You cannot do anything other way. Otherwise, world works in a specific way, specific fashion, right? So such activities wherein you are supposed to get your livelihood and maintain your family and etc. with regard to your conditional existence, such activities are called conditional, right? And also from Bhagavad Gita's teachings and Prabhupada's mercy, we have come to the understanding that we are also spirit souls. We are living entities or spiritually conscious of our spiritual nature. And that way, our actual situation should be in serving Krishna always, right? Devotional service to Krishna. So it is called constitutional nature. So we have to basically balance both of them, is what Prabhupada recommends in that purport of Bhagavad Gita, right? So Prabhupada says very nicely, in conditional state, sometimes devotional service and conditional service in relation to the body will parallel one another, and then again sometimes these activities become opposed to one another. Right? Sometimes it looks like, okay, my professional life or conditional life of whatever livelihood activity I'm doing, it is very much is helping me in my devotional service. It looks like. Otherwise, sometimes it looks too much. It is sucking out my energy, and I'm not able to give time for my sadhana or chanting activity like that. And I'm not able to get time for my service. Sometimes it looks like that. So Prabhupada says, I'm reading from the purport. It is going to give us a better impact. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome situation. I'm reading from Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, verse number 30. Purport. Apiched asi duracharo bhajate mam ananyavak. Apiched suduracharo. When Krishna is telling, even if one commits the most abominable nature actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. Krishna is giving instructions to Arjuna with regard to how, if your internal situation of being always situated in bhakti is there, then externals, even though sometimes it is disruptive or it is not in line with your activities of devotion, doesn't matter. But in your internal situation of always maintaining that fire of devotion within is very important. That's what Krishna is trying to tell us. So, Prabhupada categorically mentions in the purports, this purport and subsequent purports very nicely. Prabhupada says, as far as possible, a devotee is very cautious that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. Right? He'll try to see balance. He'll try to balance his material activities with his sadhana. Main thing is sadhana, right? But he also has to see, because now that I have a family, I have some responsibilities, I have to fulfill that also. Right? So there is a very fine balance which a devotee will try to manage. He knows that perfection in his activities depends on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. Right? So, further in the next subsequent verses, Krishna explains that the devotee, whatever situation it is, he will try to maintain his consciousness of Krishna always. That is going to take care of other things in his material life also. I was recently, listening to one of the Madhupani Prabhu's talks, when Prabhu is telling, sometimes we think we don't have time to give quality time for our devotional service, because of which, if I give time here, then I will not be able to give time for my professional work or for my livelihood. We think like that. So Madhupani Prabhu was telling, in fact, when you start giving whatever quality time you're supposed to give, quality time in that way, somehow take out time and give. Krishna will see that your time in your other activities, conditional activities, Krishna will manage. And that work which otherwise would have taken for you more time, he will see that it is it is happening in a very efficient manner, in a very minimum amount of time. Right? Sometimes we always have this tendency of, this question is coming out from that background of how we can lord over our situation with regard to how we can be controllers of our situations. That's what this question sounds like, right? How can I control here also? I can be master of this also. So in Krishna consciousness, we don't want to be masters. We rather want to be servants of Guru and Krishna. And Guru Krishna will further enable our every other activity, every other aspect of our life in such a nice way that it is beyond our understanding. It is inconceivable to us also. How it happened, basically in all our lives we have experienced how we have come to Krishna consciousness and how inconceivably the journey of our life has brought us up to this level. And we have been going on. Right? So, as Krishna assures in this 9th chapter again, previous verse, one of the previous verses, that Ananya Shintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshema Vahamyam. It's a very famous verse, all of us know this. Right? Krishna says, one who worships me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. Right? Prabhupada very nicely explains in the purport, the Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga. Basically, our endeavor should be how to keep our consciousness in Krishna. We have to always have that fire within us. Other things Krishna is telling, I will take care. Right? I will protect him from falling down to a miserable conditional life. Or basically, so that my consciousness is not degraded. Or even though I am working in the outside world in different capacities, different ways, my consciousness is not degraded. Right? In fact, in the 18th chapter again, Prabhupada in one of the purports, he says very nicely that even though our devotees may work in a factory or industry, he is actually transcendental. He is a sannyasi. That is the word Prabhupada uses. Right? I'll just take out that particular verse. It is the 18th chapter, 9th verse. Krishna says, one who performs, but he performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done, and renounces all attachment to the fruit. His renunciation is of the nature of more goodness, O Arjuna. So Krishna says, he's talking about prescribed duties. Prescribed duties must be performed with this mentality. One should act without attachment for the result. he should be disassociated from the modes of work. And a man working in Krishna consciousness in a factory, just note this, in a factory does not associate himself with the work of the factory nor with the workers of the factory. He simply works for Krishna. You see? So it all depends on our consciousness. The various situations which we are in, the body, external body may be doing the prescribed duty for a specific, reason and specific requirement. But what is your consciousness? The whole Bhagavad Gita teaching is to maintain that consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Right? Prabhupada says, a man working in Krishna consciousness in a factory. Right? What did he advise Arjuna? Right? Tasma sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. Arjuna, you fight with this consciousness, always thinking of me 24 hours. So, this tendency of trying to manage ourselves and I'll do this, I will do that. That mentality has come down to, I depend on Krishna, I depend on Prabhupada. I try to keep my consciousness, or I will struggle to keep my consciousness in Krishna always. And that will take care of everything else. If this is the attitude, this is the mood, then I think that will give us a very good comfort, even though we may be going through many challenging situations in our life. So it may look like to an outsider that, oh, we are also doing same thing. We are going to factory or business or some profession, and you're also doing some bhakti. It may, for an outsider, it may look something very, normal or abnormal, doesn't matter. But we internally know we are struggling, we are striving hard to keep our consciousness on Krishna. That is going to, save us from degradation, right? Just like vaccination, Prabhupada gives an example of vaccination, one of the purposes in Bhagavad Gita again. How we get immunized by the different conditions of the material world. Why? Because you are maintaining that consciousness, or trying to maintain the consciousness of Krishna consciousness, which means any activity you're doing, you're trying to see how it can be Krishna conscious. You're not seeing anything beyond Krishna, because everything is Krishna. Right? Seeing Krishna in everything is what you're trying to, you're trying to cultivate that type of a consciousness. Right? I hope this question is, to whatever level I've answered, satisfactory. Any comments on this? Any further questions on this? Hare Krishna.
You can come
Anyone
up,
has
you can
questions?
ask.
You
Yeah.
can also post in chat. Anyone has questions? You can post in chat if you are not able to speak.
Yeah.
I think we can go ahead, Prabhu. And if people have questions, they'll post in chat.
Let them post in the chat, or we can take it up a little later also. Fine, let us move forward. The next point we can discuss is on a specific question of how can we control comparing ourselves with other devotees in bhakti? Where should we draw a line between taking positive motivation versus getting jealous or envious? Very good question. Always this question is there with regard to different aspects of services which we do. This aspect of comparing, right? It may be doing any services in the temple. It may be kirtan services or cooking services or whatever, different services, festival services. Oh, I am more senior, he's much junior, he got a better service. This comparison, right? In the performance of bhakti. So how can you have some proper, understanding of this, or how to control that comparison, competition, right? Controlling, right? So where do you draw a line? Taking positive motivation, without getting jealous or envious. So here we need to again constantly do our background work of keeping our consciousness in Krishna consciousness. Because when you see everything from that Krishna conscious perspective, then we see that things are different. It's like I'll give a simple little background of what Krishna explains in the 12th chapter of what should be the nature of a devotee. All of you know, in 12th chapter, Krishna explains very elaborately, at least around 26 qualities he describes towards the end of 12th chapter, about what are those wonderful qualities which one can nurture or cultivate or develop, by which one can become very dear to Krishna. Right? As Krishna says, Adveshta sarva bhutana maitra karuna evacha. One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities. And nirmama nirahankara. He is free from false ego. He is equal in both happiness and distress. He does not think himself a prohibitor. It's all, we are all aware of this. We have read this many times. Right? So these are all qualities or descriptions of qualities which is actually my soul's original qualities. Right now, these qualities are covered. Right? So these have to manifest. Right? So a sadhaka's endeavor is to see that he manifests them, or rather, at least reading them again and again, it is reminded to him, or he remembers them when there are practical situations of applying those principles in life. Right? So, it's like one very nice quality Krishna says, Yasman no dvijate loko, loka no dvijate chaya. He for whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anxiety. Very nice quality. So Prabhupada nicely explains that a devotee's behavior, his quality, his way of conduct is such that he'll not put anybody into difficulty. He'll not put anybody into anxiety. He'll not put anybody into fearfulness because of his actions or his talks or his behavior. Or he'll not make anybody dissatisfied. Right? That is, he's so sensitive, so careful. Right? No, this quality is so wonderful. In fact, Prahlad Maharaj, in the Bhagavatam, when he's offering praise to Narsimha Devi, says, Naivo dvije paraduratya vaitaranyas tadviya gayana mahamrita magna chittaha. Now udvijay means, I am not disturbed myself. I don't have any problem, he says. Because I'm always absorbed in your service, glorifying you, wonderfully, remembering you. I don't have any problem, he says. So like this, a devotee's quality, one of the important aspects of his nature should be, he should not be the source of trouble to others and he is not becoming disturbed by any other disturbances. Right? So your specific question is almost, similar to what Krishna is explaining with regard to one quality which a devotee should cultivate. This, comparison. Why this comparative spirit comes? Because of you feeling superior or you feeling envious of other person, or you feeling that I can do much better, right? I would have done, in a much efficient manner. Like this feeling should never come in as at all, because we have to understand that any service assigned by authorities in a temple or any institution is again God sanctioned. A devotee always takes any situation which comes to him as God sanctioned. Right? He will not simply keep judging every situation which comes in his life. Oh, why did it happen to me? I am more capable, I am more intelligent, I am more efficient. Like this, and he doesn't always keep making assessment about his own self and comparing it to others. This comparison is what brings this whole the aspect of becoming envious and developing this attitude of I am better than you, right? This is going to spoil our peace within us, right? So the specific question was, how can we control this comparing ourselves with the devotees? So the simple answer will be to maintain this consciousness of what Krishna is telling us, or rather cultivate this consciousness of what Krishna is telling us. So Bhagavad Gita's teachings is not simply to read ourselves and become more and more knowledgeable. The jnana should become vijnana also, right? That is the next aspect of understanding Bhagavad Gita. The understanding should come down to realization. Realization means you are able to live that aspect of understanding in your practical life. I'm not simply knowing that, okay, when I'm sick, I have to go to doctor. I am sick, I'll actually go to doctor. And going to doctor, I'll take his advice of what prescription is giving me, and then the treatment, what he's going to tell me, and I'll follow that. Right? So this is what, as a sadhaka, as a disciple, we are supposed to be doing. Right? So there are so many such qualities of a devotee. Even next chapter, 13th chapter, Krishna describes 20 items of knowledge. Right? All of them, if we are able to internalize them, assimilate them, and start practically applying them. Right? So first is to know them, understand them. Oh, what is the quality? Right? Just like that, Madhupurna Prabhu has given that 4RR technique. Now it is called as SMDA technique. Most of you who attended Soulful Japa session will be knowing. That Smaranam. First of all, reading them again and again and remembering, trying to remember them again and again. Then Mananam. Start meditating upon them. Right? Then start meditating intellectually, right? And start again contemplating upon them with feelings. Oh, this quality, what quality I am right now in, or which level I am in, which nature I have right now. I have to come to this level. Why this envious? Very, very fact that when you are seeing it is this particular aspect of, oh, I'm feeling envious towards other devotee, this particular feeling has come in you. It itself is a good indication that you are able to recognize at least. In the outside world, people think this is normal, being envious to other person. At least as a devotee or chanting Hare Krishna mantra and serving Prabhupada's mission, this sense has come in us that this envy has come in me is not good for me. Why? Because of our associating with holy name and doing devotional activities. So smaranam, mananam, dhyanam, and anushiranam. Anushiranam means putting those the important spiritual principles, what you have read, what you have meditated, what you have contemplated, into practice. Right? So then every situation when you encounter such things, when you start applying them, it may be, initially you may not be successful with every attempt, but you go on applying. Krishna will help. God helps those who help themselves. So that's how the sadhaka will move forward, will come out of this situation. Otherwise, we'll be in kindergarten only, even after many years of our being as a devotee in the organization. So we have to move forward. Basically, it is internal struggle to move forward in our purification process. So this aspect of being envious of other devotees, this Prabhupada very clearly says, there are ample instructions telling that with other devotees, your envious means you're actually doing offense. Vaishnava aparadha. Why should we be envious? Right? You're supposed to have prema maitri, kripa peksha. Madhyamadhikari Prabhupada says that you're supposed to be having friendly relations with others. But to see the background, he's a soul dedicated to Krishna's service, Prabhupada's mission. How can I be envious of that soul? So this understanding should dawn upon us when you start contemplating, meditating, and constantly hearing Prabhupada's books. You want to apply them sincerely, seriously, and Krishna will give us intelligence. Prabhupada will give us intelligence, right? So basically, these challenges will come up. And these aspects of comparison and competition will always be there. But constantly keeping in devotee association, hearing from them about different aspects, what different various pastimes, how in Vrindavan, in spiritual world, how the devotees, when there is any competition, there is competition. Prabhupada said there is competition in spiritual world also, but the competition is positive competition. Right? It is very much helping each other. Just like one devotee has served Krishna very well, other devotee is not unhappy that he has served other Krishna very well. Rather, he'll take inspiration from that service and he will try to see how I can also serve like this devotee. It is a positive inspiration. Not simply doing it externally or doing just all the best, or rather simply telling lip service is not good enough. Heart of heart we should feel. Genuinely we should feel. That's the point. The transformation of the heart should happen. So that you can judge yourself. You are the best judge. Right? Because we cannot fake for long. Genuineness and sincereness is what you yourself should ask within yourself. Oh, I am simply telling, but I'm not myself not sincere, myself not genuine. Right? So, because we are all chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna is there, he's seeing. As Paramatma Upadishta Anumanta. Every moment he knows what's going on in your consciousness. Right? So, so the answer to this question is basically to internalize the instructions as Prabhupada has given us in his purports and trying to apply them in every possible our interaction and our dealing with this world around us. Because there's ample opportunity for us to go on growing in our spiritual consciousness. Because we practically apply, then we see that it's very challenging. Reading philosophy, just understanding it intellectually, appreciating is very nice. But practical applying is what is the challenge, right? That has to be practiced. Again, with the help of other God brothers, other Vaishnavas, we can always move forward in a direction. That is the solution for this. Okay. So, let's take up next question.
You can ask if anyone has any questions, Prabhu, at this point.
Yeah. Any questions? Any further comments on what we discussed?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam.
Yes, Mataji.
So, Prabhu, as we are discussing about the comparison that devotees do among us themselves, you said like everything is coming from Krishna. So, yeah. Prabhu, when authorities compare the devotees, that also should be taken as Krishna's words.
Authorities comparing in what sense?
Anything.
Appreciating them and demeaning you.
Yeah, maybe something like that. What we usually see at workplace also. The scenarios are similar in the organization.
Workplace, outside world, when there is comparison, always they will lift somebody and they will they will subdue somebody. But in devotional service, at least in devotee association, Vaishnava association, devotees are very sensitive. They will appreciate some devotees for their very wonderful service. It is very good. It is required. But they will never demean or underestimate any other devotee. Right? So I'm talking about specific situations. Situation of outside Karmi world. Yes, this is how outside Karmi world is. This competitive spirit of my product is better, your product is nothing. That's how they'll market their products and they want to move forward in their business. But spiritual life, we never undermine any devotee. As Prabhupada says, a devotee is adosha darshi. Means he doesn't see any faults in anybody because everybody has some quality. It's like Prabhupada when he came to America initially. He saw actually most of the youth who had come to take his association. Everybody has 99% faults. But he saw 1% good quality of sincerity in them. Right? He fanned that sincerity further, fire of sincerity in them. And then that further nurtured into wonderful quality. And then that blossomed into a very wonderful, devotee characteristics in devotees. So Prabhupada, if he had started, finding faults, that this and all, the youth, youngsters who came in the early years, they would have never been with Prabhupada. This is one of the quality of a devotee, pure devotee, that he is adosha darshi, right? He never sees faults in others, even though it is obviously visible. We can see many examples in Bhagavatam, right? In the first canto itself, when Dhritarashtra and Gandhari overnight had left the palace after hearing strong instructions from Vidura, that what are you doing here? You're under the care of very people whom you wanted to kill them. You're shameless. Very strong, powerful instructions Vidura gave to his elder brother. So both Vidura, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari overnight left the home for spiritual elevation. And then next day, when Yudhistira Maharaj came to offer his respects as routine activity, he saw his uncle and aunt were not there. Right? So then Narad Muni arrived, on the spot, and he was trying to explain. Actually, they have left for spiritual cultivation. So in fact, Yudhishthira Maharaj never complained about their uncle and aunt, even though all the different various sufferings which they underwent from the very beginning of their life was all because of Dhritarashtra and his sons. He always had very great respect for his uncle. Yes, see. So like this, devotees means they are, they don't want to highlight any of the faults or deficiencies or shortcomings of any other devotee. Rather, they will see what is the good quality in that devotee. So your specific question of this happens in the outside world, yes, it happens like that. But we, as we move forward in our devotional practices, we should understand this is how material world is. Let us, maintain our calm and peace and move forward. Right. So, what is your any other aspect you would like to know about this? Because I wanted to know the situation in which you wanted to understand this.
So that's what, Prabhu, you have clarified now, how material world works. Like definitely there is always competition, comparison in some organizations, workplaces, definitely we see. But even in the temple also, sometimes we come across such situations, where there is comparison. That time, maybe somewhere in the mind, it comes that here also it's happening the same way as it happens in the outside material world. Definitely there is a differentiation. This is devotees, it's a community, everybody are coming together and working for Krishna. We should not see with the same eyes as we are seeing outside of our organization. So I'm just trying to understand it better.
Right.
Prabhu, so
and
that
even
is
though
Krishna's
Mataji, it may, finally, what word is used, Krishna's plan, I wanted to stress on that point only. See, whatever happens in anybody's life, finally, it is Krishna has a plan for his, his purification, right? It may externally, circumstantially, for the time being, looks like it is unfair, injustice, so many things you may say, right? But devotees accept it, right? Yes, we would like to reason out. We'll try to logically, present our situation, not in a very challenging way, but in a very humble way. Approach the right person and submit ourselves. Prabhu, I feel like this. This is what I feel. It is maybe we can understand like this. In a very, very sensitive manner, if you can approach. Right. The whole point is, devotee doesn't want to always prove himself to be correct. Right. And then always show that I am the best. No. Right. So maybe because all of us are all sadhakas. In the sadhaka stage, all of us maybe, you cannot say authorities are also perfect. In the organization, like temple organization, yes, they may commit mistakes. They may correct themselves also later on, but nobody intentionally want to do that, right? It would have happened. It would have happened unintentionally, right? Eventually, in the temple organization, If you're intentionally doing it, then Lord has a plan. Today or tomorrow, the results will come out in a different way. But we sincerely would like to present our things, and what comes as an outcome, we'll just take it as a mercy of Krishna and move forward in our life. Otherwise, all these things will keep bothering ourselves. We should have the bigger goal of our moving forward in our journey of spiritual life, going back to spiritual world. Right? That should be the goal. All the other things will hardly bother. That's it. That's it.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Any other question, or we'll move to the next question?
I think we
How
have come to
much time we have?
We have come to the end of time, Prabhu, unfortunately.
Acha. So should I end now?
Darshanarthi is starting.
Okay,
Yes,
should I conclude here?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your time, Prabhu.
Okay, fine, sure.
Hare Krishna.
I have no more questions. Anyway, no problem. Some other time. Thank you, everybody. Nice, having your association, all of your association. It was good for me to share whatever I know and also hear from you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So welcome everybody to Vrindavan. Maybe Karthik or whenever, next opportunity. Mostly this year we're going to inaugurate the temple. We're almost ready for inauguration. Our south wing.
We look forward to it, Prabhu.
Yes, definitely. All of you should be here during inauguration. Okay, fine. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Prabhupada.